So continuing on, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a blue marker and go outside of the orange all the way around. This is actually before we're going to add the paint splatters. And notice how I'm not covering up the orange, but I'm going on the outside of it. This is going to make for a very interesting drawing, simply because of the color combinations. Orange and blue are opposite sides of the color wheel. They're what's called a complement. And when you have complementary colors next to each other, and we'll go into the color wheel at another point, at another time, but when you have opposite sides of the color wheel next to each other, it makes it vibrate. Might not be as obvious with markers, but it will be when we start painting later. And we will do a color wheel later on in the semester. So keep in mind, this is just what's called a mock-up. A mock-up is a draft of your final. And this is where I'm still making decisions as to what goes in front and what goes behind and what goes in the middle. Anywhere along the way, I can continue to make decisions about what should be more important than other things on the page. So this part where I messed up right here on the M, I'm going to shorten that when I do the final part. All of this is going to be transferred to a larger sheet of paper like I've shown you in class. So I'm just going all the way around, and I'm not really worried about the overlap at this point. Just going around the outside. This is just practice. If you'll notice the wall later on, you'll notice how many different times I practiced on the same word. On several of them I practiced 3 or 4 times before I got to what looks like a final. And that's perfectly okay. We have plenty of paper. In fact, I just got a case of paper in today, so really excited about that. That still doesn't mean that we're going to waste paper, and we're not going to stockpile it in our portfolios, but we do have enough paper. Also remember, I don't want you to erase. In fact, starting tomorrow, we're going to be drawing primarily with pens so that you can't erase. If you erase, you're spending more time erasing. I can't see your mistakes, and I really can't help you with it. So I'm going to go ahead and darken in all these areas on the inside. And I haven't really thought about yet where the paint splotches are going to go. We'll do that on the next step. So as I was thinking about this particular process, one of the things I may or may not have mentioned in class is that a lot of what we're doing is kind of an experiment. What that means is, other than on a few occasions, I really haven't done a lot of graffiti. Just messing around in my own sketchbooks and so forth. I have some samples that I've got posted in the classroom and also in one of my sketchbooks that I've shown some of you. But for the most part, this is the first time I've taught graffiti as an art form in class. So the last thing I'm going to do to this is I'm going to do a thick line all the way around the outside, and then try and figure out where the paint splashes are going to go and how to do the paint splashes. Notice I'm not being super careful, but I'm using the side of the marker to get a fat line all the way around. I'm cleaning up a lot of the drawing by doing this. A lot of the mistakes, you're starting to see them disappear. When you see a piece of finished artwork like this, especially if I've taken it into Photoshop and made some corrections to it, or one of my other computer programs, one of my favorite ones called Adobe Illustrator, I can actually redo this on the computer and make a t-shirt out of this and clean up all of those lines on the computer. We don't have access to computers yet, but I hope to get access to them soon so that we can learn some of this stuff on the computer.